Ben, a 2-1 win at Littlehampton, Sunday football. That, I think, is the best 90 we put in this season. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think, we just said in at the end there, we had a very good week in terms of this week. We've had good conversations, a couple of team meetings in regards to a few tweaks that we've wanted to change, and we've had a look at. I said in the first month, it was, we knew on the inside that it was always going to be difficult. We've been trying to find a winning formula with new players, a new group, and we hadn't quite found that. And we've made a few adjustments, especially to our shape today. And I just think, we said our first win's not going to come from going to beat someone 5-0, because our first month of the season hasn't warranted that. But the way that we could get that is like today. We've taken a couple of the chances that we've created. We've put the ball in the back of the net more than 2 times today. Probably should have scored a lot more than 2. But on the flip side, we've worked very, very hard throughout the 90 minutes and the last 10-15 minutes of the game. I thought we managed it brilliantly. I think I just said there that the whole kind of performance was epitomised by Big Dave's tackle at the end, and then what sums it up for me is Josh coming to claim a dangerous free kick, in the last minute of the game, and I think that just kind of shows where we were at today.
Yeah, I think it's where we've struggled. I think a little bit this season is putting second half performances in. We looked strong. We looked like we were still going. We were still breaking with purpose, and like you said, we could have scored some more goals. How, on a personal level, how much of a relief is it to get that first win under the belt?
Honestly, I was speaking to Jeremy. I think there's 60 seconds left, and I just said, I just really want to win a game. I just think, we work so hard, and yes, we don't get things right all the time, but I just felt that our hard work deserved getting a win and putting that, little bit of a voodoo behind us, and. Yeah, it's we've won 2-1. It's in the trophy. It's it's another game, but it's it's a big thing for us. It's it feels really good.
You freshened the squad up a little bit. You brought in 2 players in the week. Victor started at centre half. How do you think he got on?
Obviously, Victor was someone that impressed us in the friendly against Northwood. That was kind of why we put the game on, to have a look at a couple of people. I thought he looked nice and comfortable, especially on the ball. That's somewhere where he's good. I thought to come into a big game, in a change of shape, players that he doesn't know. I thought he defended very, very well. He put his body on the line. He was winning headers, and he didn't really look out of place. Obviously, Tarjay's come on to kind of relieve Sam's legs, and it saw. I think he was a big part of that last 5-minute defensive display, because he didn't stop running. Yeah. He was putting them under pressure, and what we didn't want to do is end up sitting in, because I think that's where we've been a little bit too naive when we've gone ahead maybe in a game and we've ended up just sitting back, and we didn't want to do that. And at half time, unfortunately, the worst time to concede is the last kick of the first half. But at half time, we kept it nice and positive and said we dissect the fact that we haven't defended the set play right, but we're on top. So go out and do more of the same. Don't start feeling sorry for yourselves. Go and get in their faces, and I thought we did that second half. I thought we were the better side.
You look back 2 weeks at South Park, and we really tired. We didn't have the fresh legs to come on in the second half to relieve players. Today we had Richie come on, put in a good shift for 20 minutes. Like you say, Tarjay came on for 10 minutes and made a real nuisance of himself. As a manager, how does that kind of change your the way you can manage games when you are ahead?
Just gives you a bit more comfort coming to a game. I mean, listen, the South Park one, if you'd have looked at our bench that day, we were comfortable going to the game. Unfortunately, what happens during the game, you can't plan for. And we had 2 players go injured. One couldn't come off and he pulled his hamstring, and we have got no more subs. I think today you saw the purpose of having a strong squad. Richie's legs coming on and helping us in midfield. Tarjay's work rate. Javon coming and being a bit more of a solid, sub for us when we're ahead in the game, and he still was an attacking presence, and it just shows kind of once we've got everybody fit and firing, there's a lot to choose from, and you're missing some key players from today's squad as well. So there's competition for places when everyone's fit, but like you say, during the game it just allows you to potentially manage things a little bit better. Keegs I thought was brilliant, and he's on a yellow card, so we managed to take him off. There was options for us today. Unfortunately, sometimes games serve up injuries and things like that you can't plan for, but obviously I thought the subs were a big factor for us today. They weren't kind of just there for no reason, coming on for the sake of it. They came on with a purpose and proved us right, really.
The final one, so we've got 2 training sessions now ahead of a really tough game at Littlehampton next week. Silly question perhaps, but going into that on the back of a win, bit of confidence makes that maybe slightly not quite such an unpleasant prospect.
Yeah, listen, obviously they've had a flying start. They always were going to. They've recruited really well, assembled a good side. I think just for us, a lot of it has been about the mental side of things.
Yeah.
We spoke about that all week, but we have got a group of boys that are kind of, you can see that they're with us. You can see that it hurts them just as much, and just from how they're reacting inside there, it's almost just like a weight off their shoulders. What happens now? You're only as good as your last game.
Yeah.
We've won that, and I think what we also miss out the fact that it's an FA Trophy game. We spoke about before the club. The game is an important game for the club.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. We understand the financial consequences of going out of these competitions, and also the purposes for the group. You want to play in these competitions, you get a good day out.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, the win is massive for us to go in mentally into this week. We've got that kind of off our back now, and then we switch to the league, because obviously that's your bread and butter, and that's where you're going to be competing in the latter stages going into April. They're the games you're going to be playing in. The FA trophies, your added bonus. So obviously you have to have another good week this week, and look forward to Leatherhead.
Well deserved. Enjoy
Thank you,
tonight,
mate. Appreciate it.